Hi, welcome to Amicus Cloud. Today I'm going to give you a short summary of how Amicus helps you organize your client matter files. Let's start here in the Files module. Client matter files are one of the fundamental building blocks or organizational tools in any law practice. When a client retains you on a new matter, typically you open a paper file for that matter and store all the information relating to that client's matter in that file, whether they're documents, correspondence, pleadings, whatever pieces of information come in about the file, you store in the paper file, and that's how you both organize your work and it's how you get paid for your work. Well, it works the same way in Amicus Cloud, except in Amicus Cloud those files aren't paper, they're electronic, and they're so much more powerful, easy to work with, and they keep so much more of your information at your fingertips at all times. So here in the Files module, we're seeing a list of all the files I'm working on, organized alphabetically at the moment, but I can sort it by whatever means I want to. You can see that in the list on a very simple level, I can see what file it is, its client and matter ID, and the type of file it is, so that I can sort or work by files, say just my real estate files or my family law files at my choice. I can select any given file and immediately just do a time entry for it, or open it or work on it in another way. Notice again that all of those buttons are nice and big, so it's easy to work on your files list even on an iPad with your fingers. Over here in this part of the screen, we're seeing how we view the list. So if you've got a lot of files, you might want to filter the list to just see the files you want to work on. For example, I have many files, but I only have a handful that are active at any given time, so I filtered the list to my active files. I can change that to see all my files or special files, dormant, closed files, whatever I want. And this is a customizable list by me. At the same time, I can choose to see just their billing status. So if I wanted to see just my non-billable files, I can, or my contingency files, I can, or files relating to vacation, or committee files, personal files, I can have it all. And again, that's a customizable list. Now I get a third level of sorting, and I can see just, for example, my civil litigation files, my labor law files, or taxation files. Another customizable list, and another level of organization I can have, so that as I work with my files, I can see and work with just what I want to. Once I have my list of files, I can scroll through page at a time to see the entire list. And as I do so, I get to the next page and the next set of files. Or I could leap immediately to, say I wanted to see just the Widgetco file, I could click the letter W and immediately see just all my files that begin with the letter W. Alright, let's open the Widgetco file. Click on its name, that's all I have to do, and it comes up on my screen. Immediately it comes up, you can see the wealth of information that's available to me to organize and work with around, in this case, the Widgetco share purchase matter. These tabs across the top are all the different types of information I can work with. And even without clicking any of these, I get a lot of information up front. Of course, a file name and its type. The most important thing very often in a file is the people you work with. So they're listed for me right here. Each person can be just selected in the list, and I can call them just by clicking there. I can email them just by clicking there. I can see their roles too. So if I want to see who's the lawyer on the other side in Widgetco, at a glance I say, oh yes, it's Philip, because their roles are set right here. Very helpful. And again, I can just call them. There's only 3 people on this file, but if I had 30 or 40 different people, witnesses, all sorts of different kinds of people like that I might be working with on this matter, they can all be listed there and very conveniently contacted. Down below, of course, we get a quick file summary so that when you're working on many files at once, at a glance, you know what's going on and what this one relates to. Turn the page for even more details. Here at the top, we can see the status of this file. Here's where I marked it active because I'm working on it right away, and I can see how long I've been working on it. This one's been around a long time. Here's where that billing status gets set, and its billing rate. Notice that this one's on the Widgetco billing rate. I can have as many different billing rates for my files as I want, and for each lawyer that I want who works on those files, and I can set customized billing rates, as in this case, there's a special billing rate just for the Widgetco matter. Any taxes that are going to apply to bills on this file can be set here. Here's a nice one, the referral source. Important for business development reasons to keep track of who's sending you work, and you can track it right here. Down here is another important aspect, and that's where we control who has access to the file. Some files are private. They may be personal, or they may just be clients whose work they've asked to be kept extra confidential, and I can mark it private just like that. Or I can choose to share this file or all files with all firm members, or I can choose to restrict it to a given group. This is very convenient if I have a few people in my firm who work together in different ways. I can set up a group for each of them, the civil litigation group or whatever, and assign files to those groups. Whenever I select a group, the list of people who are in that group and who thereby will have access to this file appear right here. And as people later get assigned to the group, they'll just dynamically get assigned to all the files that group has access to. Let's have a little, close this file for a minute and have a quick look at how that got set up, because it's very useful. If I go to the options settings where my preferences are set up in Amicus Cloud, you can see that some of my preferences relate to files. And I can click here and up will come my options. So for starters, new files will be assigned the following type. Let's just say that in general I want most of my work to be on family law matters. I just have to select that, and now because I'm a family law lawyer, most of the work I do is going to come up in that area. And as I open new files, they'll be assigned to the following security level by default. I can, of course, change it on any given file, but this just saves me time. And so by default, I could have all files open to all firm members or restrict them to a given group. Alright, let's go back into that file and learn some more about how it works. So we're going back into WidgetCo, and we've been looking at the security and so on. Let's go on to the first substantive tab, which is email. Now, if you've seen some of the other videos, you've heard us talk before about how phenomenally powerful Amicus Cloud's total integration of email is, and how the fact that every email you send and receive, whether you send it with an iPad, with a smartphone, or from Outlook, is also going to be instantly in Amicus Cloud. That's great. I won't talk more about it here now, but the second level of that is that those emails all can appear on your client matter files. And that's where some of the real power of the organizational structure comes in, because you get hundreds if not thousands of emails all the time. And when you go to work on a specific client matter file, you want to see just the emails relating to that file. Well, of course, if you were working in Outlook or a program like that, you could create little folders and drag all the emails into it. But the chances are you may well forget to drag sent emails into it and just the ones you receive. Sometimes you forget to drag them at all. And the other limitation about that is you're only going to see your own emails there. If you've got colleagues in your firm who are working on the same file, you won't see their emails unless there's an endless string of forwarding, CCs, BCCs, and things like that, all of which are both a pain and, again, easy to forget to do. The joy of Amicus Cloud is it does all of that for you. As your emails come in, if Amicus knows about the person sending that email, it will automatically just save the email to the client file. And that's an email that comes in or an email that you've sent. And again, you don't have to have sent or received that email in Amicus Cloud. So, for example, you could pick up your smartphone and send an email from that. Instantly, the minute you send that email, Amicus Cloud will also have a copy of it and will store it on the right client file. Who does it do that for? Well, it does it for anybody you've told it. All emails from this person belong on WidgetCo. How do you know who those people are going to be? Just look down here. We call it auto association. And in this case, any emails to or from George Alves sent from any of my many devices I can do email on these days will automatically be organized here. If I want to remove George or add other people to that list, I just click there. And there's George's name. I can add other people or remove people from this list, and in future all emails to or from them on any device will be saved to this file. I don't have to do it this way. This is a convenient way to do it, but I can do it on the fly from within the emails themselves, which you've seen in one of the other videos. Let's move on and talk about appointments. And actually, many of these different elements of the files all work the same way, as you'll recognize. These are all the appointments in my calendar relating to the WidgetCo matter, or in the calendar of anybody else who works on WidgetCo. Apparently, in this particular file, it's just me. By default, I'm only seeing the appointments that are coming up because those are the ones I need to think about the most. But if I want to see everything that's happened in the past, I can check that box, and now I can see the past appointments as well. Anything I select, I can do a time entry for, I can open it, edit its details, or review what was going on in that particular appointment. And I can narrow this list to just me or to everyone depending on the size of the file. Tasks work very much in the same way. Here's a list of everything that's still got to be done in the future, or I can click the box and see everything that was done in the past as well. Phone calls, the same way. I keep attendance notes on many of my phone calls as I speak with my client, get instructions, or give advice or opinions. It's important to take those notes, and many of those communications happen by phone call. The only way they're going to be stored and preserved, which is important for professional reasons, is if I make the notes. Making them in Amicus Cloud has so many benefits because now they're automatically organized here in the file for me. And as you can see, notes not just of calls I've had, but notes of other people in my firm who work on it. I can do time entries for the phone calls, return the calls, and make to-dos to follow up on them. Documents. Well, we've spoken of documents in a couple of the other videos. You know how incredibly powerful the full professional document management is. It's in the cloud and contained within Amicus Cloud. What's great about it is that you get to see the documents in each client file, where they relate, and you can sort them into folders and have all of the other powers we've spoken of relating to document management, version control, full text indexing, and everything else here on a client file basis, as well as in the main documents module. Time and expenses. Well, as you work on any client file, you're not just doing it for free. You want to keep track of your time. Even if you don't bill by the hour, it's important to keep track of how long it's taking you and what you're doing. And it's important then to list that and be able to review it on the client file basis. You can in Amicus Cloud. Using these checkboxes at the time, you can choose which aspects of your time and expenses to see. So for example, if I remove seeing billed items, I'm now just seeing all unbilled time and expenses. In other words, my WIP on this particular file. So I can see I've got 18 odd hours worth of time for about $4,200 in professional fees, $250 more in expenses, coming to just shy of $4,500 in work in progress on this matter. Given that, I think it's time to bill it. So, yet more information available on my Client Matter file, I can go to the Billing tab, see a previous invoice, which I issued last September, a payment on account, and the fact that actually that previous invoice hasn't been paid in full. There's a balance owing from this client of $1,400. With another $4,500 in WIP, I think I'd better bill it again. So easy to do. Just click the New button and Amicus Cloud will bring up for me a form that helps me draft the bill. Can put in a description that reminds me of what it's all about, and then I have a choice. Is it going to be billing everything that's outstanding on this, or do I just want to bill it up, say, to the end of last month, or do I want to go through and just select the time and expenses I want to bill? As I select them, the total will start to appear down below. I can see the total, and I can edit that amount so that I can change it up or down to anything I think appropriate to bill this particular matter. Once I've made those decisions, I can apply money from retainer if there is any. Apparently there isn't on this file, and then just click here to create the invoice. So very, very easy and powerful to be able to bill right from within the same structure that I'm doing my professional work from. Of course, there's also trust management that's part of it, because as legal professionals we have to keep track of trust monies we're holding on behalf of our clients. You can keep money in trust for your client in a special trust account for that client or for that matter, or in your main trust account, and keep track of all transactions in and out of trust. Last but not least, you've got the ability to track any free-form notes you want on that Client Matter file. And that was a very quick look at everything contained within a file. There's other dimensions that come to it in Amicus Cloud, in that these client files are referenced everywhere else you're working and looking. So for example, if we go into our email module, you'll have seen before in other videos the fact that any given email shows what Client Matter file it relates to. Everywhere you see that, it's a hyperlink, and so with one click you can bring up that file and review it and work on it in the context in which it becomes important to you. So you don't have to be forced through any given navigational path. You've got complete freedom to work in the sequence you want to on your client files and see the relationships to your files everywhere you go, whether it's phone calls, whether it's contacts, whether it's tasks or your calendar. Everybody who and everything that relates to a client matter file is right there. Click on that and I will see the Burwood and Wright matter. So client matter files, such an important organizational tool for you and your professional practice, and one of the great ways in which Amicus Cloud helps you organize your practice better and help you work the way you want to. That was a quick overview. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to learn more about client matter files or other aspects of Amicus Cloud, I encourage you to go to our website and sign up for any one of the free regular training sessions which we make available from that site. Again, thank you very much for listening.